Hey, everybody, welcome back to Sideline Sports. I'm your host, Trevor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I need all my people out there that are watching to please subscribe and definitely hit the like. I'm enjoying doing this. And so today, as you know it, it is a 49er Friday. And we've talked a little bit about the Niners this week and the horrible game we saw last week against the Rams. But today, let's just talk a little bit because we got some good news and some potentially upsetting news. So I'm going to unpack a couple of things. One is, it sounds like we're going to have our tight end back with George Kittle. George Kittle looks like he's been practicing now a little bit, and the idea is that it's more than likely he'll be in the game on Sunday. And a bonus is looks like Debo's at practice too. We might get Debo Samuels playing on Sunday as well. So two big guys that we need back that can make an impact on the game. It looks like they are positioning themselves to be back. At least Kittle. I'm not sure if Debo is going to be a game time decision or if he'll be ready to go. Kind of feel like he's probably going to be ready to go too. Christian McCaffrey flies back from Germany this week. And the reports say that he should be out another couple of months. That's 8 more games. But there is some conflicting reports because now it sounds like John Lynch is saying and Kyle Shanahan are saying they're going to ramp up Christian McCaffrey a little bit more in the coming week and assess how his injury is going and if they can get him playing in the next couple of weeks. That's a far cry from 2 months, and this worries me. And I'll tell you why this worries me. It's because Kyle Shanahan runs his players into the ground. If they can play, even if they're injured a little bit, he'll push them until they either come out injured or successfully make it through the game, but he won't sit them. And, I mean, we saw that with RG3 in the beginning of his career. I still think he could have been an amazing quarterback and was ruined in those playoffs when Washington threw him in there and had him play with a torn ACL, basically. So I think that affected him long term 100%. So I'm not sure what to expect here, but I believe the doctors in Germany that say that, hey, you need a couple of months to get this thing right and heal. And I'm not so comfortable with Kyle Shanahan saying, hey, let's ramp up the practice schedule for Christian McCaffrey, who's got this whole tendonitis in the Achilles thing going on, Achilleitis, whatever you want to call it, thing going on, where your Achilles can actually rupture and put you out on the injured reserve or injury, whatever you want to call it. It's not injured reserve because it's going to go into next year. It's a full year of recovery, guys, almost. So is he trying to push him to the point where he has to have surgery? It's kind of like ride this guy till the wheels fall off kind of thing, or not. It kind of feels like that a little bit. I hope that's not true, but and maybe the reports out of what was done in Germany and in that consultation, what happened there, maybe it won't be a few months. Maybe it is closer to let's get him running and ramped up on pain, levels and, see if he can, basically run through it or what. But there are two conflicting reports, and I'm awfully worried about pushing Christian McCaffrey, one of our best players, if not arguably the best player. I mean, we have Brock Purdy, who is doing amazing now, so Brock Purdy would be, as the quarterback, the most valuable guy right now. But Christian McCaffrey is right there. So do you really want to lose him for a full year? Just to push him and see if he can play through the pain, or see if we can get that Achilles to pop even in practice. I mean, I'm not really sure I understand this whole thing, and it's a little bit in the dark here. We're a little bit in the dark here with where this injury really is, because I'm confused. When you fly to Germany to see arguably the best doctors there are when it comes to the Achilles tendon. Look Curry did this in his third year, second or third year with the Warriors because he was basically at the point where he couldn't play he wasn't going to be able to play basketball long term because of his Achilles, and his ankles were weak, and that's why you can see the shoes that Curry wears even to this day. I mean, they protect his ankles so when he doesn't roll it as easily, and if he does, it's not going to be a catastrophic thing. And yeah, he has in the last few years once or twice, and it keeps him out a couple of weeks, but it doesn't end his season. So these doctors in Germany, you go there when you have no other option. And so to think that Christian McCaffrey flew all the way to Germany for an injury that is week to week doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I don't think you as the fans out there buy that either. It makes no sense. This seems worse than we thought. And as he flies back, we're getting reports that he's going to start getting ramped up on practice. So maybe it's not a tear, but it certainly could turn into that. Or maybe this tendonitis thing could even carry on weeks or months longer if you push him back too early. So I'm not sure I really understand that. I was on the 49ers website just looking at updates, what's going on with Christian McCaffrey, because I couldn't find anything anywhere other than, it sounds like 2 more months before he gets back. I think I would err on the side of caution and believe that more than let's get him ramped up in practice next week and see where he's at. I think it's pretty clear where he's at right now. But I could be wrong, and I hope I am. I hope that they know something obviously I don't know, but there is one thing I know about Kyle Shanahan, and he pushes all his players. He does not care about an injury. If you can play through it, you're playing through it. And if it's something serious where you have to sit, then that's one thing. You can't possibly get out on the field. But if you can play through it, then he's going to put you out there until you break. So that's one thing that I don't really agree with when it comes to Shanahan's coaching. Actually, one of a few. But that's one thing that I've seen with him throughout his career that he does. So kind of worried about that a little bit. But on the bright side, we're getting Kittle back most likely. And I think it's likely that we'll get Debo back out there on Sunday as well. Now we're playing the Patriots, and Brissett is not the best quarterback in the world. I'd say he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, but as far as some of the veteran quarterbacks in the league, he's on the lower tier. He's not horrible, but he's definitely, by 49er standards, beatable. Not just beatable, we should beat him. So there is no reason the Niners shouldn't go into New England. Actually, I'm not sure if this is a home game or not. Yikes. Let me take a look at this before I start talking about something I don't know about. I think it might be a home game, actually. Let's see. Is this a home game? If it's home game, we definitely should win, but I'm pretty sure we go to New England. Oh, no, it is actually here. Whoopsie. All right, my bad for being underprepared. Sorry, guys. It is here at home, which makes it even easier. We should definitely get out of here with a win. And I wouldn't push Debo back either if you don't have to, but having Kittle out there with, your normal group of superstars, including Jennings, who I love, and Brandon Ayuk, who is missing in action. Hopefully he'll show up to Sunday's game and decide to have a game. It's the Patriots. It's another good game for him to have a coming out party and say, this is the beginning of a great year for me. But let's see what happens. He didn't do it against the Rams. If I see Ronnie Bell on the field, I'm going to puke in my hat. I better not see him on the field or within camera shot. If he's sitting on the bench somewhere, which he probably will be, I hope they don't ever even show him because he disappointed me big time. So hopefully we don't see that. But again, this is a get-right game for the Niners and one they absolutely have to win. Because if they don't win this game, you're talking about sounding alarms because the Patriots are one of the worst teams in the league. And you don't want to be in that light when you're a San Francisco 49er team that's rumored to go, be one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl. It's a far cry from that, isn't it? So I know we have injuries, but some of those guys are coming back, getting healthy, and this is definitely a game to get right and get back on track. And it looks like we got some of our injured guys coming back. I still don't have anything to really talk about with Greenlaw, although I hope he comes back sometime in the near future. I'm still guessing it's mid-season, week 8, week 9, something like that. But I know he's heavily into his recovery with his Achilles issue as well. So the team is snake bitten a little bit right now, guys. But the good news is that it's early. We're only going into week 4. So we got a long way to go. There's 17 games, and we could peak at the exact time we need to, which is towards the end of the season, into the playoffs, and into the Super Bowl. So this team, anybody who out there thinks that this team is dead in the water, that's not true. Can you be angry about last week's loss to the Rams? Sure, I am. I'm completely upset with a team that should have gone down there and taken care of business and didn't. And yes, it's a snake-bitten team, but we're starting to get healthy again. Faster than I thought. I didn't think I would hear anything about Deebo Samuel's coming back for the next game, and there's a possibility that's going to happen now, which is good news. So let's see if he plays on Sunday. Even if he doesn't, Kittle, I think, pretty much is a good to go guy coming back. So we'll get Kittle back, and then we'll get Deebo back, if not this Sunday, next Sunday, I think, without a doubt. And then we're almost back to full force, minus the disappointing news that Javon Hargrave is out for the year. He wasn't very productive in the last year and a half anyway. But who we're going to replace him with that can put up any kind of production at all, that's concerning as well. So we got some concerning things on defense that I hope gets taken care of soon, because first off, defensive line is not very good, and Bosa's not really living up to his potential, okay? Nick Bosa is not getting pressure on the quarterback very often, and when he does, it's usually in garbage time. And garbage time means what? That the game is already over, and you're just out there playing. Maybe you're up by 2 touchdowns, maybe you're down by 2 touchdowns, but there's no significance of playing hard anymore, and then he'll go in and get a sack, right? Not when it's an important time. So I think this is an important year for Bosa, because dare I say, trading Bosa for, another valuable piece isn't as crazy of an idea as I thought last year. Because the more I watch Bosa, the more I'm seeing a guy who's getting paid to be a top-tier pass rusher that's not rushing the passer. So I think we need to get him going or figure out what to do with him, because remember, after this year, there are money issues that we're going to be needing to talk about with the 49ers. Brock Purdy is going to get his payday, and chips may fall a little bit because of that. Now, I do think restructuring contracts can help, and if Brock Purdy does like a Patrick Mahomes kind of thing, where he's structuring his deal in a way where he gets paid on the back end a little bit more, could help the 49ers in the short term, keeping some of these guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are gone. And, there's valuable guys you want to hold on to, and there's some guys who are valuable, but not quite as much. I think Christian McCaffrey is pretty much untouchable. I think Deebo, it's hard to say. Kittle may be a guy that could get traded, possibly. Even though he's one of the best tight ends in the league, I don't see that. I'm trying to figure out, Brandon Ayuk better show up, because he would definitely be trade bait after this year. After signing that contract and then coming out and playing the way he's playing, if this continues for the whole year, guess what? Jennings is a pretty good option, and he's already signed a contract, so he's good to go. There's going to be no problems. So if Jennings continues to outshine Brandon Ayuk is a chip you could trade away and free up a lot of space for Brock Purdy, or at least get a piece back that you need. So I see a lot of talent on this team, and let's just hope Mason is going to get back to getting more touches, because last game, that was just crazy. Like, not running in the third and fourth quarter more. I think Shanahan, it's got to run the ball more with him. JP Mason is just a star in the making, to be honest. He had the most rushing yards until the Rams game. I don't think he does anymore because they laid off him in the third and fourth quarter for whatever reason. I'm wondering if Shanahan thinks, since he's down to his last good running back, that he doesn't want to hurt this guy. And so I get that to a certain extent, but you still got to run the ball with somebody. Guerendo is there, and he's next man up. And Isaac Guerendo, like I've been saying for weeks now, is a physical specimen. The guy has speed. He's got strength. He's got agility. He runs like almost kind of like a Barry Sanders type too, which is kind of like, I can't call him Barry Sanders, but when you watch him, he kind of moves in the pocket a little bit and ducks down and dives and kind of, he's got good footwork. He moves like that, and he's powerful. He's strong. He runs strong. So Isaac Guerendo, aside from his injury past, which he's plagued with injuries, is a good option to get out there and, give some touches to while Mason's resting. Do that. I still don't know why that's not. What are you afraid of? Get him getting hurt again? Okay, so if Guerendo gets hurt again, then he is, and he's out, and you still have Mason. But, Guerendo, now that he's healthy, give him a chance to get out there and get back to business, because you need to run the ball more, especially when you're winning by 2 touchdowns. So, I think Guerendo is the way to go. The secondary, I haven't talked about yet today. The secondary is a little bit of a problem. And when I say a little bit of a problem, I mean a gigantic dumpster fire of a problem. That secondary is getting passed on like they're 10-year-olds, right? It's like they put me out there in every position and said, guard these wide receivers, these NFL pro wide receivers. It's just not happening. I'm not really... I got to stop putting my thumb up. Jesus. I'm not sure how you get that right. I'm not sure if the secondary is worse than I thought. I thought coming in from preseason they were going to be awesome. I'm not sure if it's Sorensen's defense. I think a little bit is. We got a new defensive coordinator, and all of a sudden the defense is not playing up to its expectations. So I'm confused as to what's going on here. They have the talent. You got Hufanga back. Okay, he was knocking some rust off during the Rams game. That's fine. He's back. You got Mustafa out there, a rookie that is playing not like a rookie, but like a Pro Bowler. You got guys out there who are ball hawks. You got Fred Warner. You got these guys out there that are great. How come this defense is getting passed on? Is it because of the pass rush? Maybe because we don't have enough pressure on the quarterback. They have all day to throw the football. That's an argument, and a good one. And that could be what's going on with the secondary. But it's not the whole story. The secondary is not playing well either way. But it's not helping that players like Nick Bosa and the rest of the defensive line cannot get at the quarterback and give him some pressure. Those quarterbacks are so comfortable back there throwing the football against the 49ers right now, guys. So I don't know what changes need to be made on the defensive line, but the defensive line is turning out to not be very great, and the offensive line is turning out to be pretty damn good. And in offseason, I was saying the opposite. I was saying I'm worried about the offensive line, and the defense looks pretty good. But that's not the case. The offensive line with Dominic Pooney coming up and playing amazingly. You got him and Trent Williams now. Now you got a really solid offensive line. If you had one more guy, they're already one of the best offensive lines in the league now, I think, the way they're playing. One more guy, one more good offensive lineman away from Brock Purdy never getting touched. And right now, he's not getting touched too often. So it's all about the defense, guys. It's all about where this defense goes from here and how the defensive coordinator in his first year fixes this, because this first year could be his last year. The Niner fans aren't going to be putting up with that defense for very long. People are going to be clamoring for that defensive coordinator to get the hell out, because one of the biggest things that the Niner fans are, prideful about is the Niner defense. The Niner defense has always been strong. This defensive line this year is not starting off great. And so, yes, it is putting pressure on those secondaries to stick with the wide receivers longer, which is almost impossible. Wide receivers are just going to get open. They are. If you give them enough time, they're going to get open. So you have to give them time. You can't give them all that time. You got to put enough pressure on the quarterback to give those corners that are covering the wide receivers the confidence that they're not going to be chasing a wide receiver around for 15 seconds every play. That's what's kind of happening right now. So the defense has got to step up and get better. The offense, I think, is doing fine, doing pretty well, except for I go back to Kyle Shanahan's play calling, and I'm not going to give up on that until I see play calling get better, because the play calling is still kind of, like I said, vanilla. There's nothing special about Kyle Shanahan's play calling other than they're throwing to superstars like Kittle, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Jennings, and having Mason run the ball who's turning into a superstar. Okay? Without those guys who can do amazing things, those plays are very vanilla plays that don't look good. If you switched Jim Harbaugh, who is the coach of the Chargers now, with Kyle Shanahan, switch those two coaches and see what you get. I bet you we get a better team. I bet you we get a better team under Harbaugh than Shanahan for the one simple thing, guys, and that is Harbaugh knows how to game plan and adjust during the game. He does that very well, and Shanahan does not do that very well. That being said, he's still one of the best coaches in the league. But if you put Kyle Shanahan on the Chargers with those plays, you're not going to have not as successful of a team as you would with the 49ers. Superstars the coach to hide a lot of little mistakes that normally wouldn't be hid. But because you have great players that outshine those deficiencies, let's say, you look like a superstar. And we know Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. But there is one area that you will never win a Super Bowl in if you're not good at it. And that's adjustment to the game. Because when you get to the Super Bowl, you have to make adjustments throughout the game. Every Super Bowl we all watch, guys. Every Super Bowl, the coaches are making adjustments more in that game than in any other game during the season, it seems like. They're making adjustments, especially at halftime. They have to. Because if they don't, then they could lose the Super Bowl, even if they're up by a couple touchdowns. Look at when Atlanta played the Patriots. Tom Brady was down by, 2 touchdowns and a field goal at halftime? Or was it 3 touchdowns? It was a lot. Tom Brady came back and won that game when he had no business of doing that. Is it all Tom Brady? Sure, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's going to do that. But they let him. Why? Kyle Shanahan was offensive coordinator. And again, he did not run the ball nearly as much as he should have in the second half of that game. When you're up by 3 touchdowns, I would say run the ball every play. I don't care. Drain the clock by running the ball because the clock gets drained faster running the ball. So is that something that has followed Kyle Shanahan around his whole career? Sure as hell looks like it. He's doing it here in San Francisco. He did it in Atlanta. I can't say he did or didn't run the ball enough with Washington because they weren't always a great team anyway. They were okay when they made the playoffs, but it was still a pass-heavy offense. I'm okay with passing the ball, but you have to play the game. You have to play the game as if it's chess, not checkers. I mean, you have to have strategy. You have to understand that when you're up by that much, passing the ball can only lead to possible interceptions. Running the ball can lead to draining the clock down and probably less likely of a fumble, but I don't know the numbers there, so I don't want to say for sure. But I think you protect a lead when you have it. I really do, but that's just me. That's how I feel. So we'll see. So I think Kyle Shanahan's play calling has to get better. We all think that. I think all the fans know that. I think Kyle Shanahan knows that. Whether or not he wants to do anything about it, who knows? He hasn't done it with the 2 Super Bowl losses, which were lost in basically the same manner. And he hasn't really adjusted during games now. So let's see what the offense does. That being said, they have tons of weapons, and they're going to beat the Patriots. And those weapons are going to make Shanahan looked good throughout the season, no matter what. But if you really watch football enough and you understand football enough over the years, if you pay attention and understand the game of football, really do, you can see those little deficiencies that are getting figured out with Shanahan by other coaches pretty quick. Now, I mean, it's happening faster now than other times. His offense is always going to work to a certain extent, but it sure feels like he's kind of getting figured out quicker this year. So I don't know, maybe dial it up. We'll see. But we'll see what happens with the Patriots. I expect the Niners to beat the Patriots, and that's fine. They should. And I expect the real test to come later against the Cardinals for one. But we got a pretty daunting schedule after that, because we got the Cardinals, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Bears. Now, the Bears aren't that good this year, and the Seahawks are kind of, whatever. And they're going to be at home in San Francisco, so we don't have to go down to Seattle and listen to that loud stadium. Dallas is, I think, pretenders, but I can't tell. It's always a tough game. Cardinals are pretty tough with the Niners, and the Chiefs are definitely no joke. So that's a gauntlet right there up until the Bears game. And the Bears are not very good, so we can kind of get back down to earth a little bit. But that's a tough 4-game stretch, so we kind of need to get this game against the Patriots, and let's see if we can take that momentum going into the final, the next few weeks. Arizona Cardinals are in San Francisco. We're not in Arizona, so that helps us a little bit too, getting some of the home games, which is nice. So let's see where it goes, guys. But I'm expecting a San Francisco win. And I know I was going to talk a little bit about the Warriors, but I just didn't get a chance. I will be talking about the Warriors soon, maybe even tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. And you can catch me here for post-game analysis after the 49ers game on Sunday. The game starts at 1:05 on Sunday, I believe. Yes, 1:05 on Sunday. And after the game around, I guess, 3:30 or 4, I'll be doing a podcast talking about the game and breaking down the highlights of everything and how it goes, and hopefully we're talking about a win, because if we're not talking about a win, that's a scary thought. I can't even imagine them losing to the Patriots. That would be, I don't even want to talk about that. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and please remember to hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. So let's get to work.